You've been swamped with
I
some magical job all week, or what?
it wasn't as swamped as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Um, it was just weird. Like it was a job for an agency, which I don't do a lot of those. Um, this agency was subcontracted by another agency, which was subcontracted by another. So I was like fourth down.
Where the fuck does all this money go? Does it just change hands and you're the last man on the totem pole, or what?
Yeah, which means I don't get very much money.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It was just kind of a weird project, and I don't know that it's completely done. I can't like say who it's for or anything, but it's three big brands that are working in conjunction with each other on this project, um, and like one of them is kind of dragging their feet on everything. So yeah, I'm just gonna
So
have to.
was it smooth design wise though?
It's been okay, but it's definitely not something that if you saw it, you wouldn't be like, oh yeah, Zach designed that.
How
It
many
was.
how many of those projects do you have where it's just like shit to pay the bills that's not doesn't have any flair of yours on it?
I I've been lucky enough that I can kind of pick and choose these days. You
Yeah.
know, like I just turned down a couple of jobs yesterday that were just I don't want to design a brochure. I don't.
Yeah, that shit sucks, I'm sure.
I used to do that stuff. I used to just take every job I could get.
I feel like everybody does that though. Like everybody does in the beginning, they do anything they can get their hands on, and then eventually you have enough like clients and stuff where you can kind of be picky and choosy, and
Yeah,
you're burnt out on doing the real shit stuff.
yeah, yeah. And I like reignited my freelance career like way late, just like a few years ago. Because when I got out of college, I started doing some freelance stuff along with my day job, and I just did. That was before MySpace or anything like that. I didn't know how to advertise that I did freelance, so
Hmm.
it just kind of died out. But
What were you doing? So, well, I guess go back. What did you go to college for?
I went to the University of Kansas for. I did a double major because back then you could either do graphic design or illustration. And I started out majoring in illustration, and then like my junior year, my illustration professor was like, "Hey, if you guys want to find a job a little easier, you should take on a graphic design major as well, because it's just hard for an illustrator to get a full-time job, or it was back then." So yeah, I ended up double majoring, so I've got technically two degrees from college. They're the same thing with just a different name on them,
Do you
basically.
feel do you feel like they actually did anything? Like, did they do jack shit for you, or?
No, I don't know. Like, it was a good experience, I guess. I worked harder in college than I've ever worked since. So I was double
Is that a
majoring.
good thing or a bad thing?
I, I was working, I think, three jobs, like three part-time jobs, and double majoring. I didn't ever sleep, man. It was ridiculous. Like finals week, my senior year, I was awake for like 85 straight hours. Actually, my junior year, I got approached by Hallmark to come work for them. And I was like, well, I got one more year of school. So they're like, okay, we'll see you next year. And at our senior show that next year, they were the first people at my table.
How did that come about?
I don't know, like KU has like the senior art show every year. Um, like all the seniors, they put out their portfolios and all this stuff. And then representatives from, mostly local businesses will come around and see, you know, kind of scout the talent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was the same guy from the year before. He's like, hey, you remember me? I'm from Hallmark, and we
I've
want
been
to.
watching you through your bedroom windows for a year.
He may, I don't know. But yeah, they came back and we got an interview set up, and yeah, I started working there like less than a month after I graduated from college, and I've been there ever since. So
It's
15 years.
crazy, dude. So how long have you been there then?
15 years.
And what do you do every day?
Not much.
Jack shit.
Make cards. Right now, like I've been on quite a few different teams through the years. The first 10 years of my career, I was on the, I was in the licensing design studio. So we did everything with like anything that had a licensed character on it. So anything Disney, you know, Superman, Star Wars, everything. I did a lot of Hannah Montana cards back in the day. I did a lot of, you know, like Zac Efron, like High School Musical cards.
Did they
And
give you like the direction and you just kind of like lay it out?
basically, like we get, or the way it used to work is you get a packet that's got like a copy sheet, the editorial, and then they give you like style guides to work with. So like there were, you know, we always had all these photos of, you know, Hannah Montana, you know, all the Disney style guides and stuff like that. And then we just kind of lay stuff out, and then you send it out to the licensor for approval. Like you had to go, at one point we had to go through 5 or 6 stages of approval, because you had like your art director, then the creative director, and then the licensing creative account manager, and then the licensor, and then the licensor's art department, and then it'd come back for a final review. It was a mess, man. It was ridiculous. But like, I think I still hold the record for longest approval time for a card, and it was for The Office. Steve Carell sat on this card for like 6 months because he didn't like the way his hair looked, because he had hair plugs in the first season. And so he wouldn't approve it until he could get a new photo shoot with his like new hair. You know,
This is a real thing.
that's for real. Sorry, Steve Carell, I just outed you, but yeah. So I guess
So he has hair plugs?
Yes.
Dude, I'm telling everybody now, and I'm
Yeah.
telling them that you said it.
But yeah, so
all over a card? Like he was that worried about it?
yeah. Oh, we did. We used to do. You remember that show Duck Dynasty?
Yeah.
We used to do their cards, and I was like the guy that did Duck Dynasty cards. I think it's because I had a beard.
The beard, yeah.
Oh, this guy must like Duck Dynasty.
Right up your alley.
Single episode of that show, man. I'd watch clips and be like, how do people watch it?
Yeah.
But the mom on that show, Miss K, I think her name was.
Don't act like you don't fucking watch that shit now.
Love that show. It's my favorite show.
There you go.
Miss K, the photos of her turkey neck was so bad. Like, we had to go in and Photoshop out like her turkey neck on everything. So those were always a pain to get approved.
You always have to get it for. Dude, can you hear that right now? It is storming so hard outside.
Is that what that is? I thought you guys were like clanking shit around.
No, it's fucking rain off the air conditioner.
We
That's the
just
hardest thing about doing podcasts. It's like there's so many like unforeseen shit that like you don't know like what's gonna happen. Like right now it's raining like wicked hard. Thunder and lightning.
I was worried about, like my dog would start barking, so I went down early. So
dude, that shit happens to me all the time. I do this podcast with Andy at my house, and my fucking dog barks all the goddamn time. And it's like I just want to strangle it.
Yeah, we had that
rain stops.
We had that rain the other night, and it rained so dang hard, and just thundered and lightning like crazy. Like, that's the first time my son has came and got in bed with us in like 3 years, because it was so loud.
Yeah. I feel like we had a storm like a month ago, and it like rarely happens to where it's like that crazy. But I feel like lightning struck like right in my front yard.
I
And
think
like I
yeah,
woke up and like sat straight up and I was like, what the fuck was that?
yeah, like I think it struck in our laundry room. It was like that loud. It was ridiculous. But yeah, like so with Hallmark, like I was in licensing design for 10 years, and then that department got dissolved. There was a big like layoff that year, so they just dissolved that whole department. But I got picked up by the humor studio, so I went and worked on the humor studio for a year, and then I went to Shoebox, which is like our alternative humor stuff, which I love that. That was a blast to work on. Um, I was there for like a year and a half, and then I was on the social media team for like 8 or 9 months.
There's a Hallmark social media team.
It is intense work. It's crazy because they have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different accounts. There's like Hallmark, Hallmark Baby,
Hallmark
like
Baby? The hell is Hallmark Baby?
Hallmark Baby was like our best social media account. Like we had so many followers on that account, and then they just deleted it one day without telling anybody. They just deleted it. Yeah, we had that. We had like Shoebox account. We had Studio Inc. account, um, which I kind of managed both of those accounts. So I'd plan all the posts and everything for a month and
Yeah.
come up with content and stuff.
Have you been like working from home with all that?
I've been working from home since like March 15th. So I've been like at home every day. Like I don't I don't have anywhere to go. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's and my wife, she's a stay-at-home mom, so it's the four of us just cooped up in here all day. So that's why my hair is getting gray, man.
Yeah. No, I have to leave. I have to get out of the house. I have to come here. I have to do shit. I can't sit still. That's my problem. I can't sit still. Like even on weekends and stuff, like
Yeah,
when I'm supposed to be relaxing, I'm like doing work shit or I'm doing a project. I can't just sit on the couch and be like, I'm just gonna watch TV today. It just
it's
doesn't
hard.
doesn't happen.
No, even if I'm sitting on the couch, I'm playing a video game because at least it feels like I'm doing something.
Yeah. Well, I do
So
that, but that's more of an anger issue
yeah, me too. I go on Red Dead Redemption and just kill everybody.
too. Yeah. Why are we not playing that together?
I don't know. I don't know how the gaming works. I'm a little behind the times
Yeah,
on it.
right.
Yeah.
So when you're in high school or something, were you just always about design stuff and you just decided that's what you wanted to do, or how did you fall into it?
Uh so like this is a story I guess that I've told more than once, and I told it the day I got interviewed at Hallmark. But um, when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, we had to do like a little report on what we wanted to be when we grow up, you know. And back then, you know, like I could draw and all that when I was a little kid, and I liked to draw stuff. And the librarian knew that. So when I was looking for a book for what I wanted to do, she's like, "You should be a commercial artist. That's what you should do. Here's a book about commercial art." And I'm like looking through this and like, I don't, where do I work for this? She goes, "You could work for Hallmark Cards. You could design cards for Hallmark." And from that day, I said, if I'm not a professional football or basketball player, I'm gonna work for Hallmark Cards. So, so ever since I was in like
So
4th grade,
obviously you suck at sports.
now
That's
I do.
all I took away from that whole story is that you fucking suck at sports.
I was good. I wasn't the best, but I was good. Uh, not now, man. I bought my son a basketball hoop uh, for his birthday, and I was out there trying to dunk on like 9.5 feet, and I threw my back out, and I was laid up for like a week. I can't do that shit anymore.
Again, my point. You suck at sports.
Yeah, that's why I'm an artist. Stuck in sports.
That's what it should just say in your bio is I'm an artist because I suck at sports.
Honestly, like when I was in high school, I got recruited to play football at like quite a few colleges. Um, but my senior year, I had 8 concussions. Um, 7 were from football. I played quarterback, and my offensive line was about as big as I was, and I just got fucking wrecked every game. And I went to the hospital. I couldn't tell you how many times my senior year. Um, and then the worst one, we were on like Christmas break, and I was sleigh riding with my buddies, and I did like a end over end flip and landed on my head. And I was in the hospital for like 3 days with like a high level concussion. And after that, with like follow up visits, the doctor is like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I remember you saying something about you were going to play football in college. You're not going to now unless you want to die. Because if you get hit in the head again, you're going to probably die." So,
It's a good excuse for sucking at sports, I guess. It's a cool story that you made up, but
God damn it. I'm going to call my mom and she can tell you about it.
that's how far you have to go to prove to me that you're good at sports is you have to have your mom call me.
God damn it.
So back to what you're actually good at is illustration. Um,
I don't know
so
about
so you said you did freelance for a while and then stopped and then wanted to
Yeah.
get into it later. Why'd you stop? Just because it's hard to market, or?
That was part of it. I think part of it was like the only jobs I'd had up to then were just like minimum wage, like, you know, just, summer jobs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So right out of college, I get like a career, you know what I mean? And I'm getting paid more money than I ever made in my life, you know? And so I just got comfortable, I think. Um, I just didn't feel like I needed to do that extra work because back then I looked at it as just work, not something I like to do.
Right.
Now it's hard for me to not do it because I just like doing it so much. So, but yeah, I just kind of quit doing it. I did like a few logo jobs here and there back in the day, and like I said, I didn't know of any way to market it unless I was like taking out ads in a newspaper or something.
Yeah.
So just didn't for a long time, and I kicked myself for not, because that's when I lived by myself. I had a nice space. I could have been doing all these cool things, but I didn't. I just ate a bunch of fast food and drank a bunch of beer, and
So you lived the good life, is what you're saying.
I was living a good life.
Right.
Um, but here, like, I don't know, about 6 years ago, my wife got pregnant, and after Hank was born, she decided she didn't want to go back to work. I was like, okay, my salary covers pretty much everything, but we can't eat out. We can't do this. We can't do that. You can't drive your car because I can't afford the gas for it. So we got to figure out how we can make X amount of dollars every month.
Right.
So we were coming up with we had a sign painting business for a while because I was really interested in like old hand painted sign styles and stuff.
How did that go?
It went it was good. We did pretty well, but like most of our clientele were people from like the area that we were from. So it was a lot of like Pinterest signs, like laugh, love,
Live,
and all
laugh. Yeah.
that. Dance like no one's watching, shit like that. But I ended up doing a few signs that were cool, and like I would build all the signs. So I'd build out everything and frame everything, and then stain it and beat it up and all that.
Do you
kind
do
of
any
stuff.
of that still?
Now it got to be where it was like I'm spending like 15 to 20 hours making this sign, and I'm getting paid $200 for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So was just way more work than what it was worth. Um, so then I started doing uh, like t-shirt design stuff through Threadless
Mm-hmm.
as an artist shop deal. Um, so I just kind of went, whole hog on that and threw up just, I think that site's still up, but I don't like promote it a whole lot anymore just because their print quality has fallen off so bad. But I think there's like 85 designs I did in like 2 or 3 months that I just threw up there. So that was a nice passive income, but it just wasn't enough. So
Mm-hmm.
I rebranded my Newton Design Company and just kind of started trying to get more freelance work. And it's, it's been growing since then. So Hallmark, they knew that I was doing like these hand painted signs and stuff. So one year they sent me to Nashville to like the country music, the CMT Fan Fest or something like that. And I painted 2 big murals down there that ended up getting auctioned off for some CMT foundation and stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
but it translated into something cool.
There's a big live, laugh, love sign.
It's basically it was this line of cards that I was kind of in charge of. Not in charge, I don't know. I guess I was kind of the face of it. We brought back those sound cards. We like rebranded it. It was a line called Anthem, and I think there were 80 cards in the line, and I think I designed like 60 of them.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I was kind of the Anthem guy there for a while, and when we went to Nashville, they wanted to do T-shirts and all that stuff, so I designed the shirts and coasters and all the signage around the booth and all that stuff, and ended up just painting basically the T-shirt designs as murals. So
Yeah. How much
fun.
of your work now is like t-shirt oriented versus just like logo work?
Uh, it varies, but like I'd say over the past year, it's probably been 70% T-shirt work, which I love. I love
Yeah.
designing.
Well, it's like my buddy Zach Shooter there that I I interviewed him a little while ago too, and
Yeah,
he said that basically because that's what he grew up into, like design wise, is like t-shirt design, is that
yeah,
like all of his design work basically translates to, good for printing on t-shirts. Like nothing is like digital work where it's like,
yeah,
that wouldn't print well. Like his style is like straight up, like this is perfect for a t-shirt.
yeah. Like I was actually just watching his interview.
Yeah, I only interview designers named Zach. So
Good, and you should keep it that way.
right.
No, I watched it a while back after it came out, and I was rewatching it, like I guess kind of cramming for the test before this.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you were talking about like he was kind of like a printer's dream,
Mm-hmm.
for that kind of stuff. So,
Well, I
I
get
hear,
that. I get that all the time too. Like, not to like shine a huge light on him during your talk, but
okay,
um, I get that all the time though. Just because, like, as a printer, we love when someone gives us a design. It could be X amount of colors, but like if we can put like a big bold black outline on everything, it's like fucking.
yeah,
Every color is totally separate. None of them touch, and there's just like a black outline on everything that comes down because like you can be off a little bit with printing if you're going to cap it off in black. Like it's just easier to set up, easier to print. So that's why people say that, is because it's just like you can put all the colors down and then bam, as soon as you hit it with the black at the end, it fucking caps it off and it looks
oh
awesome.
yeah. So I'm gonna start copying his
Right.
designs.
Yeah, obviously.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'll be doing. So.
We'll call you guys as like Zach Attack or something.
Oh man, I don't miss being called that.
Back
Back
in
then,
your football sports days.
that was back in like the grade school days when Saved by the Bell was big, you know?
Yeah. Saved by the Bell's still big. Love that show.
Okay.
To Kelly Kapowski. So how do you work your hours? Like if you're doing freelance, do you basically you work at Hallmark all day, you come home.
Yep.
When does freelance start?
In the before times, before all this
Just
stuff
say
started.
in the land before time.
Yeah, in the land before time. Back then, it would be get up, go to work, come home, eat supper, play with the kids, hang out with everybody, until my son went to bed, which was around like 8:30, and then I'd get started on freelance work right around there, 8:30, between 8:30 and 9, and then work till 11 or 12 every night, and get up, do it again.
Yeah. Do you ever get burnt out on that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's happened many times where I just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this like all the time. So, but with working from home all the time now, it's a little easier because with Hallmark stuff, I can get up, get stuff knocked out early, take a quick lunch break, try to get everything done by early afternoon, and then I can jump over and kind of start working on freelance stuff while I'm, still checking emails for Hallmark. If anybody needs anything, I can just jump back over to that.
Right. But you can mix it in all day, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's working out really well for me. The problem is like I'm so busy with Hallmark work, it's really taken a toll on how much freelance I can take. Especially over the past month. I've never been this busy with Hallmark work. So just within the last couple weeks, I finally started taking on freelance again, but I hadn't taken anything for over a month. So
yeah. Do you hope to like be at Hallmark until retirement?
I think so. I mean, if I can, that was always the goal, is to just be at one place.
Right.
Which I'd probably be making more money if I jumped around. Like I know a few friends that started at Hallmark and they've jumped to a few places since then, and they're making a lot more money than they would be if they'd stayed. So
yeah, but that's I mean, we run into that same thing too with like our guys here or other things, and
yeah,
I mean, it's not like my guys are paid pretty well.
yeah,
Like we make what we can make for the area I don't want to say the area we're in either, but it's like where we live, living is cheap, basically.
yeah,
Like we're
yeah,
not a shop in LA where like everybody here has an apartment that's like fucking $2,000 or something. It's like literally rent at like a decent sized apartment is like $500-600. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like shit's cheap, whatever. So like, I don't look at it at all as like, what's the minimum I can pay my guys and have them be like, okay. It's like every year, everybody gets a couple raises for the most part. It's not like
right,
they like stay low, but it's one of those things too. Like people are here that have worked here, and there's my core guys that have been with me forever, like since we started. But there's people that float in and out, that are here and they'll work for like a year or two. And then they're like, oh, so-and-so said they would hire me and I'll get paid more dollars or whatever. Almost all of them that leave end up being like, fuck, I hate my new job.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like people always start chasing money all the time. And it's like, dude, here, like, yeah, we work, but most of the day we're fucking around. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
I know.
even when we're working, we're fucking around. Like we're laughing, we're talking to each other. Like we go to lunch together. We do like, it's not like Partridge Family, but it's like, dude, like we do shit that's funny. And like, we're very not like PC either. Like we'll say shit that probably shouldn't be said at work. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like there's shit like that. That's just like, it's in a work environment where like, you can just like dress how you want to dress, do what you want to do. And they're like, oh yeah, but I can go work at so-and-so corporate company and make
yeah,
$2 more an hour. It's like, okay, like, but you're sacrificing like quality of life. You know what I mean? It's like,
Sure. Oh yeah.
I might not pay this, or I might not offer like all these crazy benefits and stuff, but I feel like it's like, do you want to have fun at work and get paid enough to do everything you need to do? Or do you want to have a high, like, cause I could give everybody a lot more money, but I'm going to yell at everybody and be like, hey, get the
Exactly.
fuck back to work. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like if I'm paying you, $24 an hour, like you better not stop fucking working all day long. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like
Oh,
as an owner, it's kind of like, if I'm paying you X amount and then I see you like fucking around or like having a conversation and like sitting down just like bullshitting, it's kind of like, yeah, like they're a person, like they need time to like do that. And I don't feel as bad to be like, I'm like sweating because I'm just seeing dollars just fucking pissing out on the floor. Like it's not necessarily the case. So I kind of feel like if you're happy at Hallmark and like you are home by this time, you like what you do, you get paid a
yeah.
good amount to live, then fuck it, stay there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's another part. Like I've never really even looked like seriously to get away to do another job,
Yeah.
because it's familiar, it's comfortable, um, it does pay well. I know what my hours are going to be every week.
That's
There's
that's the best thing for me.
yeah,
Like,
there's no surprises.
yeah, like I know people that are older than me or my age that still have a job where they find out what their hours are on Monday,
Oh wow.
like different every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every week, it's like, oh, I have to work Saturday and Sunday this week, and it's like, or I
Yeah.
have to work like a double on Sunday. It's like, what the fuck is that? Like, I work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
like a grown human. Like I don't understand what these hours are that you have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get it. Like everybody's job's different, but it's just one of those things that blows my mind. It's like, how do you not have a set schedule? Like, how do you not know what's going on? But
That's what it is. Like my dad and brother, they both work road construction, and their hours vary every week. Like most weeks, they work like 70, 80 hours a week. It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
I mean, they
Um,
get paid really well,
Pretty
but
well.
like I
Yeah,
said, it's like, how do you plan anything? Like, how do you,
they can't.
right?
Sundays are the only day that we're like 80% sure they don't have to work. So
Yeah, and that's 80%.
exactly. So
What are some of the like, I guess like more fun jobs you've had that have kind of like inspired you to go in another direction?
oh, that's a really good question. Um,
I'm really smart.
you are you're really surprising me here.
I'll get way deeper later. I'll ask you like all kinds of life philosophies and stuff.
Good, good. Um, I don't know, like that one that I just did for you guys for the Josh Wolf thing. Like I'd never done anything for like a stand-up comedian before, so I was really excited to get to do that. And
Did you see
that,
that clip I posted today?
yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Dude, he was so stoked on those.
I was showing my wife, and she's like, "Oh, that's so cool." And then I showed my daughter, who's like 16, and she's too cool for everybody. And she's like, "Huh? Did you design those?" I was like, "Yeah, like all those that he's showing." And he's like stoked about it. She goes, "Cool." And just handed my
Yeah.
phone back.
So give me $16.
Yeah. uh, uh, but yeah, like that was cool. I guess when I started really getting into designing t-shirts, that was something I guess I'd always thought I'd be doing or like wanted to do. But just I only designed t-shirts for myself for such a long time. And then I guess posting that stuff on Instagram is what helped me like
Yeah.
kind of get into that.
Did you find that like Instagram or, stuff like Instagram? I don't know. For me, it's always been Instagram. Like it
Yeah.
used to be MySpace and then it was Instagram. Facebook was always like the, redheaded stepchild to me with like anything. It's like
Yeah.
Instagram, I feel like I don't use it necessarily to be like, this is a sales tool, but the
Yeah.
shit happens. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I like it for the socialness. I like talking to you and like other printers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's my favorite part of it. It's just like the communication between all these people and like showing each other work. But why do I have something in my throat so bad? Um,
I don't want to speculate.
yeah, yeah. It's a long day. Um, but yeah, it's just like, it's so easy to just show like what you're doing in the day and show off work. And then so many people see your work and it grows like crazy.
Yeah,
So we've definitely gotten a ton of work from Instagram, but
I've probably gotten over the last year, I bet probably, I would say at least 60-70% of my works come from Instagram.
yeah.
And that, if you look at my Instagram from like, I don't know, 18 months ago, you'd have no idea that that was me. Like,
Uh-huh. I actually, I actually noticed that. I went through yours one day just to see like some of your old work or whatever,
yeah,
and I noticed like all of a sudden you hit like I'm branding myself this way.
yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
that,
Like you go from being a designer where you're like, I'm just doing whatever work comes my way. I'll design it however they need it, and then all of a sudden I feel like you hit a thing where you were just like, this is my style, this is my branding, and then it
exactly.
just is like from there you can tell it's like that's you.
Yeah. And it was, that came from, I was, I don't know if you know Scotty Russell. He does
Mhm.
Perspective
Yeah.
podcast. I was up listening to him doing some work one night. It was like on a Friday night. And like I did a screen cap and shared it on my story. And he sent me a message. It's like, hey, dude, thanks for sharing. I appreciate you listening and all that. And I was like, it's awesome. Like, I've been a fan of this guy for a long time. It's cool that he reaches out and talks to like just regular dudes. So I was like, I got to shoot my shot here. So I was like, hey, dude, I'm a big fan. I know you probably get asked this a lot, but would you mind taking a look at my Instagram feed and, what do you think? And he replies like, you're right. I do get asked this all the time. I don't really have time, to get back with everybody. Um, hit me up, in a month or so and maybe I'll, help you out. I was like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Keep up the good work. I wake up the next morning to like 7 paragraph long DMs from him, just like scrolling through all this stuff. And I mean, he went hard on me. Like, he wasn't like putting around. He's like, listen, what do you want to do? I'm looking at your Instagram. I don't know if you want to be a designer. I don't know if you want to be a lettering artist. I don't know if you want to just show me that you love your kids and your dog and that your wife's pretty. Like, what do you want? What are you trying to show me?
Yeah.
And he gave me all these like tips, like here's how you can do this and try this and do this and that. And after that, I was like, okay, this is what my Instagram is going to be now. I want to use it as a tool to like draw in the clients that I want to work with. I'm tired of just like, I don't want to design brochures anymore. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. This is what I want to do. And they say like, put out the work that you want to get.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's just what I started doing. And I think I started it with like a series of like hip hop songs and hip hop artists like Run the Jewels and stuff. I started just designing little things, just around song lyrics and stuff. And from there, I started doing the black white grid thing,
Hmm.
which it's eye catching. So yes, it's crazy. Like at that time, I bet that's only been a little over a year ago. I think I had 600 followers when I messaged him. So I've gained almost 3,000 followers since then.
Yeah. And it's only going to get like, it's just going
Yeah,
to exponentially keep going. Yeah.
yeah, it's been good.
No, and I feel like that's what, drew me to you when I first saw yours. Cause I do that all the time. Like I'll go through and I don't do it like consciously. I'll just go through and I'll, like Zach, the other Zach,
Yeah,
like I said, we're buddies and we talk about stuff all the time, but like a lot of time when I'm on his page or whatever, it always shows me like, you should check out so-and-so. And I think I came across yours like 2 or 3 times from like different artists, and I checked it out, and I was like, man, I really like this stuff because there's a lot of them. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't want to knock other countries, but there are a lot of them that are like all Indonesia or whatever. You know what I mean?
oh
It's
yeah,
like, but
yeah,
they all look exactly the same. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like black background,
yep.
hand illustrated thing with like I don't know why it's always like fucking palm trees with like a skull in it.
just pictured in my mind.
Dude, you
Oh,
know exactly what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
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 they're all the same. It's like a fucking like a surfboard, palm trees, a skull, and then there's always like a shark with a skeleton, or it's just like the
yeah,
same shit over and over again. And then you find somebody that's like you were saying, like a printer's designer, where it's like a lot of your stuff was like it was beautiful lettering with a distress pattern on it or something. And
sure.
it's like that's fucking gold for a printer because it's like, oh, it's distressed, cool. Like I'll sell the shit out of that.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
and I don't look at it like that. I just look at it as like even when I hit you up, like I wasn't coming to you and being like, hey, uh, do some work for my clients. It was like I wanted to work with you personally. Like
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I want to hire you. And I hope I was a good customer. I was just
Oh
like, hey, this is what I want. And you were like, hey, here's my bill. And I paid it.
yeah.
Like I didn't dick
Like
around. Like
dream client. I mean, you were kind of a pain in the ass, but still
right.
dream.
Well, obviously.
No, it's great. And from there, you got me to work on that Josh Wolf thing, and now we're doing this podcast, and we'll continue to do cool things
Right,
together.
right. And I'll also always send, I'll always send stuff your way, but that's kind of like how I like to work. And I've told people this before
Yeah.
who ask me, they're always like, how do you get really good, artists to work with you and stuff? And it's like, well, I put my money where my mouth is, and like if I
Yeah.
like them, I'll buy something from them first and be
Yeah.
like, hey, like let's work together. And then that I get really cool branding for my own company,
Yeah.
and B, I get to see how you work. Like, I don't want to send you a high profile client and be like, hey, this guy's going to design your work if I've never seen how you work. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, wow, Zach's a real asshole. All he wants to do is talk about fucking sports glory days all the time. Never wants to get to the point.
God damn, it's like you've known me for 10 years.
Dude,
God, you sound like my wife.
yeah, see, that's what it
Huh.
is. But it's just like, you know, like you said, like if you're focusing on the people that you want to come to you, that's what happened
Yeah,
with me. Like
exactly.
you had all your branding together, you had everything exactly the way you should have had it. And I noticed that and I was like, shit, like I want to work with this guy. So
I mean, 100% credit to Scotty Russell for kicking me in the ass and getting me
well,
in the right.
sometimes you need that, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like people think that they know fucking everything. And it's like, dude, like even me, like I like doing this stuff to learn. Like
yeah,
I've only done I mean, I have that other podcast with Andy too, but it's like the reason why I did the podcast is because I want to just keep talking to people. But for me, it's like a huge learning tool. Like I can talk to you right now and learn like, how you set this up or how you worked at Hallmark and grew this to, get to this point. It's like that shit to me is just like I'm learning about like, this is a good way to go about this or whatever. But
yeah. And I love getting to work with guys like you who are in the business of actually printing the stuff that I
mhm.
make. Like, because there's little things that like I don't know everything about screen printing, obviously. Like, I don't know if you guys have like minimum line weights. Is there this? Is there that? So getting to work on these projects with you guys, it's just it's fun, but it's also I'm learning something the whole time we're working on the
Yeah.
project. So
hmm And that's big
good.
too.
It's
Like
mutual.
if you that's the thing too. Like if you ask me, like if you're we're pretty close now, but like if you ask me stuff too, like we were talking about this with the Josh stuff, you're like, well, how do you want it? Do you want it in layers? Do you want like Pantone? Do you
Yeah.
want this or this? And it's like learning that skill as a designer to be like, I have an actual, like the biggest thing you can do as a designer is buy one of these. Like fucking give me a legit Pantone. Yeah, see, like, ooh, this is all it takes. Give me a coated Pantone for screen
Yep.
printing. Like, pick the actual color.
Yeah.
Give me it, in layers with the color, whatever. Give me like a sheet of this is what it's supposed to look like. If you can mock it up and you actually know how to mock it up too, that's huge. Like, if
Yeah.
you are one of those guys that gives me like a drawn picture of a t-shirt and then just fucking throws it on there, fuck,
Oh
hey, fuck you guys.
yeah.
No, that's fine. I don't really care. But yeah, just like as long as it's not necessarily how the mock-up is, it's if it's actually to scale. Because we have so
Sure.
many designers that send us stuff that are like amateur designers or whatever, and it's a t-shirt, like a picture of a t-shirt or whatever, and they put
Yeah.
the design on there and it's so blown up. It's like huge.
Yeah.
It's like in the armpits. But the thing is, the
Yep.
customer doesn't know. The customer doesn't know that that's wrong. You know what I mean? They'll
Right.
get the design from them and be like, my designer made it like this. Like, what do you mean you can't do that? And it's
Huh?
like you're looking at a t-shirt flat laid out like on a table. If you
Yeah.
put it on a human being who isn't a flat piece of wood, who's actually like a tube, like a fat piece of shit like me, most of that design is going to be in your armpits.
Yeah.
Like I'm 6'2" and I'm like a big beefy fucking dude. Like if you
Yeah.
were to take a tape measure and measure my chest of like what's actually like a printable area that you would want to see and look at, it's like 10, 11 inches.
Yeah.
And we get
Which,
people all the time that are like, no, I want it 15 inches wide. I'm like, okay, well, your band name, the first two letters are going to be in this armpit, and the last two letters are going to be in this armpit. Like, if that's what you want, cool. But I'm just letting you know right now that nobody's going to be able to read that shit because it's too big. And it's
yeah.
because of that. It's because of shady designers just making it fucking massive. Like,
And I like, I would, at one point, and I'm still a shitty designer on some things, but at one point I was like that. I was designing shirts for, my hometown has a fall festival every year. So I was doing shirts for them, and like, I'm mocking it up for them and showing like it's cool, it's big, gigantic, it's like the surfboard scene, which, middle
with palm trees and the skull in the middle.
of pretty, um, it, in Wathena, Kansas, we're known for our sandy beaches
Right,
and
obviously.
um, but I'd mock it up, and the printing company I was working with, they're out of Nashville. I've worked with them a few times. They're called Friendly Arctic. Good people. I really like them. But they sent me back a proof, and the design was like way
Yeah.
small. Not just because I had way oversized it, but because we're also printing on kids' shirts. So you don't want to pay the extra screen fees.
Yep.
They didn't want to.
We run into that all the time.
I mean, your print, it's what, 10 and a half wide is the widest you can go, or 10 and a half or 11 is the widest
On a
you can go.
youth tee?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
usually it depends on the youth tee, but yeah, we get that all the time. Like we have customers, and it's usually like a contractor or something because they always want to buy shirts for their kids.
yeah.
Like if you're getting shirts for like a band or, all these bigger places we send stuff to, rarely they're getting youth stuff. But
Right.
usually it's youth stuff with somebody who owns a business that wants to get a bunch of shirts to give away or sell, but they also want to get a bunch for like family members. And it's
Exactly.
like, they're like, okay, cool. Here's my design. It's 13 inches wide by 60 inches tall.
Uh-huh.
We'll take youth extra small to 5X. And
Exactly.
well,
Yeah.
this youth tee can max, the print should be like 8 inches wide to look good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you put that on a 5X, it's going to look like he has a tiny little thing in the middle of his shirt. Like,
Exactly.
we need to make two separate orders. Like, we'll make a youth order and we'll make an adult order. And they're always just like, why? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you mean you don't understand? Like, when we put the shirt on press, we slide it on a piece of aluminum that's a certain amount of size. Like,
Yeah.
this is the printable area. Like, the tiny ones don't fit on there. We have to put it on a tinier piece of aluminum. Like, it
And
is what it is. It's hard to explain to people, but it's like, this is just how it's done, dude. And I feel like it's the designer most of the time, like, not to fucking shit on designers, but it's like they need to educate themselves if they're in the market of selling to printers.
yeah.
This is how it's done. Like,
Yeah.
figure that shit out first before you give the customer the wrong idea. And sometimes some of these massive companies work with new designers. Like, they'll be like, it'll be a company like, I don't know, whatever, like Jägermeister or something. And they'll work with a guy that the guy in the marketing department's brother's cousin, and he makes a design, and then they send it to us, and they're like, we're a massive company and we're willing to give you X amount of dollars. What do you mean you can't make it work? And it's like,
Right.
we can make it work, but this is how we have to do it. And they're like, well, I don't get it. Our designer gave us this. And I'm like, well, your designer can suck
Isn't
it.
it? Yeah. Yeah. And that, like, honestly, I was like that until they kind of explained, like, oh, just like you said, like, we were selling youth extra small up to like, I think 3 or 4X. And I went back to the committee and it's like, here's what these shirts are going to look like on a kid's shirt, which was, filled up the whole like front of the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And on a 4X, it's like,
Yeah.
like
Just
that.
on the chest.
So, and the crazy thing is, in my hometown, you sell more 4Xs than you do kids shirts.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But that's the thing, though. Like I said, it's what people need to realize is even a lot of times these designs just don't need to be so big. Like you can make a lot of times, like say somebody buys a Gildan or whatever, like a real boxy tee.
yeah,
Like you can just do a print on a youth shirt that's usually like 10 inches wide.
yep,
Like that 10-inch wide print is totally fine on all these adult shirts. Like even a guy
yep,
that's a 4X versus a guy who's like a large.
yeah,
Like the dude who's a 4X is probably more round than the dude who's a large. You know what I mean? Not trying to be funny, but like a dude who's a large
right,
is probably more like a tight oval. You know what I mean? Like he's got a chest and then smaller in the middle and whatever.
yeah,
But the 3X dude is like really round. So like the actual front of that dude's shirt is about the same as like
right,
what you're gonna see.
yep,
So the 10 inches is fine. Like
yeah,
yeah, a 4 or 5X is like a sheet with a hole in it, but still, it's like the dude's chest is. I mean, that's a really
yeah,
big person.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I don't want to rag on designers. When I get a chance to vet, it's nice. But
You
I feel
should.
like I feel like if you're going to be in this industry as a t-shirt designer, you
Yeah,
should reach out to a actual print place and like ask beforehand. Like ask like, how do you want this artwork stepped out? Or what are your restrictions? Or this is what the customer's thinking about doing. What's a good way for me to make this for you?
I loved when I was watching that story from Josh that you posted when he was like, last but not least,
Dude, and my favorite, he said.
my, I was telling Gwen, my wife, I was like, do you know how hard we had to try to sell this design to them?
Yeah.
Like they didn't first.
They
So
trashed it. They trashed it like 3 times. They were like, I don't want this. Make something else. And I was like, are you sure this is pretty cool? And and at one point I was like, I'm just going to keep it. Like, I'm going to order it from Zach. I'll keep it. And if you ever want to use it, we have it. And then like in the last, like you made the last round of mock-ups and you were like, I just threw this in here. I
yeah,
like it, like give it to them. And we sent it and they were like, all right, let's do that one. And now Josh is like, this is my favorite one. It's like,
it's like I told you, like when they started, I was like, it sucks when we know like what's probably going to sell, but the client is like resistant to that. We've been doing this stuff for a long time, man.
yeah,
We don't, but we know what we're talking about on a lot of
yeah.
this stuff.
That's what's
So
really difficult a lot of times. And you kind of have to, they're the ones paying the bills. You know what I mean? Like they're the ones
exactly.
doing it. It sucks to swallow, but I get that a lot with a lot of bigger clients too. Like we know like this is going to do really well. And like, I know you don't want to take a chance on it, but to us, it's not a chance. You know what I mean? To us, it's like, dude, this is a home run. Like,
Yeah.
I
Oh
loved
yeah.
everything we did for Josh. I'm glad we did everything the way we did it. But that
Oh
design that you sent me at first, I was like legit stoked on. Like the one of him playing the joint guitar. Like I
man,
was like, fuck, this is awesome. Like this rules. And I
I
was
want.
so stoked to send it to him. And when I sent it to him and she got back to me and was like, he looks angry and mean. We don't want to use it. I was like, fuck. Like,
That is. I don't know if you know this, but that's based on a Ted Nugent album cover.
now that you say that, it sounds familiar. Like I'll have to look it up,
It,
but yeah.
it it's Ted Nugent like playing the guitar, but the end of the guitar is a machine gun.
Yeah.
so so yeah, I thought that would be funny
I
to
thought it
do
was
it.
awesome. I thought it ruled. But I mean, I get it now, like that I've gone through and done more research on Josh and seen like how he's doing things now where it's more like
Right.
mellow, you know what I mean? He's trying to like talk to people while he's
Yeah.
smoking and stuff. Like I get that he doesn't want to be this like crazy person. Um, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really cool fucking shirt. Like, I
It
mean,
was fun.
the one you did end up making with him just like chilled back or whatever, like that one still is awesome. But still,
It's
like, just like,
yeah. I mean, that's more his speed, like with the stuff that he's doing now. Like I
yeah,
get, but hopefully one of these days we'll get to print that one up.
yeah,
Maybe we'll just print a one-off so we can wear it.
yeah, yeah. No, it was good. Are
Well,
there like, do you do stuff like that? I asked the other Zach about this too, but do you? And he does it, but like, if you have a customer in mind or somebody you look up to on like social and stuff, do you just make shit and send it to them and be like, hey, do you like this or do you want to use this?
man, I haven't, but I've been like that close. Like I've always wanted to design stuff for Harley Davidson. Um, with like my family, we all ride Harleys and stuff like that. Like it's it's just one of them
Well,
dream
I
clients.
know a guy who knows a guy. So
Well,
just so you
talk
know.
about that off air. But yeah, that's like dream client. I've always wanted to do stuff for Nike, Adidas, like any of those like shoe companies. I love
Yeah.
that stuff. And I've been buying the shit out of some Nikes from the quarantine thing. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I've been watching that Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix there.
That's what
Uh
got me.
was it?
That's what got me. I was
Because
like,
I literally just watched the episode on the shoes when he was talking
yeah,
about it. I thought it was so funny. He's like, I don't want fucking Nike. He's like, I wanted Adidas's.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's just like watching stuff like that. Like I've never been like a big sneakerhead. I'm always that guy who like buys a pair of shoes and
yeah.
then like just wears them till the sides are fucking blown out and then I
Me
buy
too.
a new pair of shoes.
Yep. That's all I've ever like. Since I can remember, it's always just been Chuck Taylors and wear them until the sole wears out.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been the same way, but it's always been Vans. Well, when I was younger, I didn't have, I mean, we weren't like rolling in dough. So it was the Payless Airwalks.
oh, those
Um,
um, the
but
ABC.
I liked those when I was a kid. Like they were like skate shoes basically. They
Yeah.
were just Airwalks. But then when I like got my own job and started buying shit, I was always buying like Van slip-ons like every year.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I don't know, like I'm a fucking giant and I have wide feet, I guess. I always
Oh,
blow the sides out. Like the canvas on the side of my fucking current shoes are like that. The sides are all blown out.
you got the big old fat feet. Look at
Dude,
that.
look at the sides are fucking blown out. These are my dailies.
You got to cut your toenails. That's what that
It's
is.
not my tone, dude, it's way over here. It's just my fat ass fucking ogre feet. Every time I take a step, it just blows the side of my shoes out.
Man, yeah. Like for me, it had always been Chuck Taylor's. I bought a pair of Vans because I was like, I got to branch out because Chuck Taylors now they wear out so much faster.
I've
Than they,
never in my life worn a pair of Chuck Taylors.
I've always loved them, but
I just don't
now,
like tying shoes.
yeah.
I feel like they're a big shoe that you have to tie. Like you can't just slip
Oh,
those on.
no. Unless you do the low tops, you can do that. But my feet, I got big feet, and I look like a clown if I wear low top
Yeah.
shoes. Like,
Like I wear 13s.
yeah, I'm a 12, so.
Beat you. I'm probably better
Uh,
at sports than you are too.
but yeah, with that Jordan documentary, I would like, I started looking into like the Nike app and like the sneakers app. It was like, oh, these Jordans just dropped and they're on sale. They were like $85. The Jordan ones, they were like all black. Some like black and gray colorway. It's like I've always wanted a pair of Jordans since I was a little kid. Like I never had a pair of Jordans. I'm gonna buy these. So I got those, and that's what started it all.
Hmm.
Then I bought a pair of Air 90s. I bought another pair of Jordan ones, and then I just got a pair of like Air Flight, like 1989, like Scottie Pippen style shoes. My wife's like, I'm gonna throw your phone away. So spending so
Yeah.
much. But the thing is, like, I'm getting all these. Like, I got the Air Max for almost 50% off. I got that other pair of Jordan 1s for under $100. Like,
Just
those
man
fly.
up, dude. Just say you fucking bought the shoes. Like, don't be that guy who's like, I got a discount here. Just be like,
I do,
no,
but
I wanted the fucking shoes. I bought the fucking shoes.
that's not me though. Like, I hate paying full price. Like, I don't buy jeans that are more than $30. Like,
Yeah.
there's some things I don't spend money on. That's why I've always bought Chuck Taylors, because for the longest time they were only $50.
Yeah. Well, that's the
30
thing
bucks
with like Van slip-ons. Usually they're like 40, $50. Like just straight up like a black pair.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
No,
like,
I kind of do that. Like I don't. Everybody listens to this that knows me is gonna be like, he's a fucking liar. But I I don't really buy a lot of stuff. Like I buy stuff that I like.
yeah,
Like I might buy a good amount of that stuff, but like just like crazy other shit. Like yeah, I have like good motorcycles and I have like the things I'm really into, I spend money on, but I'm not like one of those guys that's just like buying shit left and right. Like I stumbled upon Dixon's, like the shirt I have on right now.
huh?
They're the flannels, like I don't know how many years ago it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
now, but like if you've ever seen Danny Dixon, the guy who owns that company, he's
yeah.
like the same human being as me. Like legit, like the beard, the hat, the body
Yeah.
type, everything. Like long torso, short legs. Like we're the
That's me.
same. Yeah,
I'm
we're
saying,
the same human being. So the thing is like he definitely like tailors the clothes to fit him. You know what I mean? Like when he gets things
oh,
made, he looks as like, oh, this fits me. Like I bought a Dixon the first time I saw one that I really liked or whatever. This was like I said, like a long time ago, and it fit perfectly. Like my whole life growing up, I always bought like I was always into flannels and
yeah,
like in the winter I like to wear a button up or whatever, and they never fit right. Like
because they're
they're always a too short, yeah, or just like they're loose up here, and then like in the belly area, the
yeah,
fucking buttons are always stretched out. So I'm like, oh, I don't fucking like these. I don't like these. I ended up getting a Dixon. It fit perfectly. Like everything about it was long. Like
yep.
everything fit really well. It's got like room to play. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, and the thing with Dixon is they have a release like once a week. And
Oh,
it's
nice.
like I am like that. Like you're talking about sneakers. Like I'm like that with their stuff. Like if I like it, I buy it. And they're expensive. Like they're like the shirt I have on, like they're probably like $60. And I buy like one a week.
Goddamn
So
flex.
like, well, I'm just saying, like if you like something and it's for me, it's like I'm into apparel, like that's my
Oh, yeah.
industry. And it's
Oh, yeah.
like the thing is they're limited edition too. Like he orders X amount and when they sell out, they sell out. And a lot of times they sell out in like minutes or an hour or something. And then people sell them on eBay. It's like going to Mondo or whatever, or buying a print.
Right.
It's like people buy them in bulk and then sell them on eBay. And it's like I buy a lot of those just because they fit me amazing and I can like
Yeah.
have a bunch. I don't know if you've ever seen my photos or videos or stories. I almost always have a fucking short sleeve button up on.
Yeah.
Like, and then in the winter, I have long sleeves. And it's just like I have one for every day. Like that's what I'm into. And like I said, like motorcycle stuff, like I buy a lot of that. I do buy a lot of movies, but just like get like fuck it, whatever. We work hard. Like I work hard every fucking day. You work hard
That,
for the shit you
yeah.
do. Fucking spend your money on shit you want.
That's kind of the point I got to, I guess, with this, like, with the quarantine stuff. And I don't know if it was just like retail therapy at first.
Yeah.
Um,
Plus everybody's getting that government money.
as a one and done for me.
I didn't
But
get
yeah,
any.
it's like I don't feel like I have to justify it. I do. I justify it to myself. Like, you didn't pay full price for that. It's cool. And I like. I don't buy. I'm the same way. I don't buy shit for myself, or I didn't for a long time. Especially like from the time my son was born up until like a few months ago. So like, it's nice to kind of reward yourself with some stuff. So I don't know. Like, I like it. I'm gonna probably keep doing it until my wife deletes those apps off my phone. So
Just keep doing it. Keep you do you, man. So back to it, design stuff. I recommend
Yeah.
if you can, like, try to send some shit to Nike or send some shit to
Yeah, I need to,
people.
and because I feel like I could do some cool shit for
Yeah.
them, like, or for whoever, like Harley or just anybody. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Even the comedian stuff, like, to me, that's like a new avenue I've been getting into, and like there's not, you know, they need it. You know what I mean? Like, hit up some comedians and just be like, hey, I made this, is like, watch some of their stand up or something and make something that's related and send it to them. Like, I feel like
dude, when I was watching the podcast with Zach Shuda, and he was saying that he did
the stuff for
that.
Tom.
God damn! And I saw it the next day after that podcast, and Tom had put it up on the site, like the Mystic Rick or whatever it is
Yeah.
with the turkey. I fucking died. Like, and now like, my buddy Cam Warner, Canvas Design Company. He just did like that big Kool-Aid shirt of Bert. Have you seen that?
I don't know if I did or not.
Because they do that Two Bears, One Cave, him and
Yeah.
Bert Kreischer.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about like Bert drinks over a gallon of Kool-Aid every day. And so Cam drew up the like Kool-Aid Man shirt but drew it as Bert. Jesus Christ. It's good. And it sold out like that. And so like now Cam's doing more stuff for Tom. I'm like, shit, I gotta start doing that shit. Cause I watch like
You should.
your
That's
mom's
what I mean. Just send them shit. Like, worst case scenario for you, it's just like it's something you're into and it's fun. Just fucking sketch it out. It's not like you have to make a full-fledged like done product, but like sketch it out enough where it's like usable and be like, hey, like I watched this thing and I had to make this, like, and send it to them and see what happens.
Yeah. I gotta start doing it. Like my thing is, who the fuck do I send it to? You know, like I don't know Tom Segura.
Yeah, but I feel like if you go to a website like the Your Mom's House website, and there's probably a contact form.
Now they'd have to sift through all those fucking weird videos though to get to.
Yeah.
You watch that podcast?
Your Mom's House?
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Oh, dude, that's the craziest shit. I love that. Like that's what I'm watching when I'm working every day. I watch that. I watch Two Bears, One Cave. I watch the Bill Burr and Bert Kreischer, the Bill Burt podcast.
Yeah.
I watch stuff. Scotty Russell. I watch Perspective Collective.
I watched Perspective podcast a bunch of times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good design ones.
Oh, fantastic. But yeah, I was rewatching the one you did, like your first episode with Grizzly. Like, I love that dude. He's so funny. Like, I just met him at Creative Works in Memphis last year, and like, I've been following him for a long time, and I was hanging out with Scotty Russell, and he's like, "Hey, you want to meet Grizzly Wheeler? That's him right there." I was like, I could have guessed that. Like, he looks like, but that dude's great. I was just emailing him earlier about doing some hats. He's trying to talk, doing something, but
yeah, he's a good dude. He's a close friend of mine. We talk quite. He actually called me right before we did. Like, literally, I was on the phone with him, and then you popped into the Zoom chat of like, and I was like, "Hey, I got to call you when I'm over." And he was like, he gave me some shitty remark about fucking being too good for him or something, and then he hung up.
That sounds about right. Next time you talk, ask him who is the world's best bocce ball player, and then tell him that Kansas City barbecue is way better in Carolina.
Yeah, I like talking shit to anybody I know, so I'll gladly do that.
Oh yeah, that's all I ever do. Anytime I talk to him, it's always, "Hey man, I'll send you some barbecue if you want to eat some good barbecue one of these days."
Yeah, like I should send you like a football so you could practice or something.
I'll probably get a fucking concussion and then just out for the rest.
This made up concussion story.
I wish, like, that's why I'm half brain dead.
Well, you have to piss
Can't
every
think.
5 minutes.
That's probably why. DE.
So, well, who are some of your like favorite social media accounts to check out inspiration wise?
Um, I follow so many people. It's ridiculous. Obviously, there's like the heavy hitters like Draplin. Uh, Lincoln, obviously, is one of my favorite. I love those dudes. I got to hang out with them down at Creative Works. Yeah, I saw that.
I
Uh,
saw that.
yeah, like they're just. I met.
To me, with them, it's the fact of yeah, they're good at designing, but they're again, like you were saying, like they're good at branding themselves.
Oh my God, they're
Like
like
and they align their design style aligns a lot with my personal like favorites,
exactly,
like fucking
exactly.
Sasquatch everything, like
Oh
thick
yeah,
lines, like that's my favorite style. So yeah, I like supporting them as much as I can as far as like buying
yeah.
patches and fucking shit like that.
Oh, absolutely. And they're cool as shit. Like kind of like lower level designers like me. When we can meet guys like Lincoln, it's like meeting. We're like fanboys, you know.
Yeah.
And so when I met them at Creative Works, it was like I can't believe I'm talking to these guys. And then by the end of the conference, we're just like hanging out and going to get pizza together, and they were just cool dudes. Um, Not to give them, you know, too much attention because they get enough of it.
Right.
But
Like design work.
yeah, Draw Castle, Derek Castle
Hmm.
is big influence. Um, Alex Pardee is like my favorite illustrator of all time. Um, Matt Dawson, Stay Gray Pony Boy, Kendrick Kidd, Steve Verboyne, um, Fried Design Company. They're out of Springfield, Missouri, so they're just a hop, skip, and a jump for me. Um, shit, Dan Sheridan, um, Brethren Design Company.
Hmm.
They're out of like Oklahoma City, I think. There's a gal in Texas. I think she's in Texas. Her name's like Daphne Sabane or something like
Dude,
that.
there's so much good talent in Texas.
Dude, and it's all like
It's in the
mostly
it's
in
in
the
the
hot.
water down there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Uh,
It's also a massive state too, so it's
it's
like
yeah, it's like four. It's like Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska together.
yeah.
But
Well,
uh,
that's a good mix.
yeah, yeah.
What are some of the best places for people to check out like your work specifically?
Usually like dark alleyways.
Well, yeah.
Like work. Um,
Not where you hang out. What like what
Glad you're talking about my other side job.
Right.
My Instagram, it's at Z Newton, ZNEWTON. Um, you can look at my website if you want to buy shit from me. I haven't updated like my portfolio on there for a while, but it's newtondesignco.com. Uh, go buy some shit. I've got t-shirts
He
and
needs to buy more
stickers.
shoes.
I do. I need some more. I want to buy some Jordan 11s so bad, but they're like way out of my price range.
Um,
But
I don't have the money to buy them, but I'll buy them just to rub them in your face.
I bet you will. You just call me up. Oh, hey, check these things out.
I wore them for like 2 days and blew the sides out.
My feet are too fat for them, so I'm just gonna throw them
Well,
away.
it's like in that documentary or whatever. Fucking Jordan wore those shoes in the garden that he wore like the first time, and he said how bad
Yeah,
his shoes were full of blood when he got done.
yeah, feet were just bleeding, and I've got two pairs of those Jordan ones. I cannot believe anybody would ever play basketball in those. They're like if you just put like semi-shaped Kleenex boxes on your feet. That's about what they feel like. I can't believe people play ball in those, but
Yeah,
people used to play ball in Chuck Taylors too. So
yeah, yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
hey, dude, thanks for doing this for me. I'm gonna delete
This,
half of it.
you should probably this should be like a 3.5 minute episode.
Like, hey, this is Zach. You're like, hey, I have to go pee, and then I'm just gonna cut it off.
Hey, I gotta go pee. I used to play football in high school. Check out my website.
You should probably go to Lincoln if you need any design work done. See you later.
Yeah. Pee.
I'll make a quick edit for you of that.
Beautiful. I love it.
All right, dude. Get back to work. I'll see you later.
All right, dude. Take care.
See ya.
Later.